Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj.
And my name is James.
And Correspondence Week continues on to episode 3, James, and we have the first of the promoted clubs to talk about.
Yeah, they only come to see the GOAT. It's Mark Sutherns. How are you, Mark? We're talking about Nottingham Forest today. Back in the Premier League after how long, Mark?
23 years. 23 years, yeah. I got to say, a few years back when I had my time off FPL and I was in bed for like 6 months, I was pretty ill, got over that now. But your Correspondence Week was the first content I listened to when I got back into FPL. And I was like, I would love to do some of that at one day, but never thought it would happen because I never thought would ever be in the opportunity to talk about Forest in the Premier League in my lifetime.
And now, here, and once you said you were interested, I had to tell everyone else no, didn't I?
I was going to say, you must have had a few contenders because there's a few big names
have
out
a choice.
There.
Jesus, I think I've had to shut down the podcast, mate. Twitter would have exploded.
I had to have it. I mean, I kind of like thought, if ever that chance comes up, I'd have to go for it. But I never really entertained it at all. And obviously, for a lot of last season, I never thought it was possible. I never thought it was possible until the very end that we would go up and that I'd have a chance to talk about Forest on an FPL podcast. And here I am doing it in terms of fans talking about their clubs. This is the place to be, isn't it? So I'm very chuffed.
Well, we are very pleased to have you, mate. And I think actually the fact that you wanted to do it, I've said this to a number of the other correspondents, it speaks volumes for the work they've done over the last few years that you wanted to be a part of it as well. So
I love this content. Yeah, absolutely.
Cracking, mate. Before we talk about FPL assets and the fact that you haven't got any Forest players in your draft, spoiler, but most of you probably watched Black Box already. The backstory, mate. 1.7 games last season. More League One correspondence, weren't you, mate?
Yeah, I was kind of fearing the worst. I thought we'd get out of it. I didn't think we'd go down necessarily because I thought Houghton would turn it around eventually. But obviously the brand of football and the mood around the club was really down. And we made a quick decision to change it, which obviously, as we know now, was a ridiculously good decision to make at the time because obviously a manager who I'm sure I'm going to talk about in a bit was available and we only had one name, I think. I think that was, Dane Murphy knew what he wanted and he quickly moved to Steve Cooper and the rest is history. I mean, I still think Houghton's a good guy. I still think Houghton knows the championship very well. I think maybe his methods of perhaps things have moved on from his methods and what used to work doesn't work necessarily anymore. Maybe his man management is different as well. Things have moved on a lot in management, not only in football, but across the board. I'm seeing it in the business I'm in. Management style has changed to be a lot more caring, a lot more people management. And perhaps, that's where Steve Cooper excelled, as well as tactically changing things around quickly and recognising what we had to do with the players we got to get up the league. And he set small targets and we made them. And then, before we knew it, we were in with a chance. It was a ridiculous season. It was, I can't quite believe how it unfolded.
Do you remember what I said to you last summer about Houghton?
I don't know.
I said to you, he always goes up in his first full season, always, every single time. Well, you did. You just did it without him, mate. So talk to us about Mr. Cooper, mate, and the impact he's had. Dramatic, mate.
It's very hard to talk about without getting quite emotional. I watch a lot of things. I watched something last night about the England DNA and how it runs through Southgate's England, and Cooper was part of that set up early on with the under-17, under-16s, under-17s, and he's taken a lot from that. And so you can look at the methods that Southgate and the FA have used to introduce that DNA for the national team, and Cooper's taken the same ideas and brought it to Forest. Everything, the little details that Southgate does, bringing family into it and talking to the players, just having that one-to-one relationship with the players. Cooper's done just that, and this is stuff away from the pitch, right? And that's played a massive part in the turnaround. It wasn't just tactically and getting the right players in January, which obviously was a big thing, but just the little things that he does. And what's great, I mean, we've had good managers in the past, but when you have a manager that gets results for you, that you kind of agree with what he's doing on the pitch tactically, and also you agree with the moves that are being made, in the back room, Dane Murphy steering the transfer moves, but most of all, the fact that I can relate to him as a person. He's someone that I would want to know, and I'm proud to have him as my manager. That's really rare, I think, because often like you get a good manager and you think, well, he's a bit of a dick, but he wins us games.
Mark, I went
But
from
this guy,
Pochettino to
yeah, I
Mourinho,
know.
mate.
I didn't want to say. I was going to say. I was thinking that when I was saying that. But you know what I mean. When you've got a manager, you think, you know, I really like what he stands for. I really like what he's doing with the players, and everything I hear about him just makes me appreciate him as our manager. And it'll be a very, very sad day when he leaves and one day becomes England manager, because I think that's pretty much on the cards. Don't know how many years it'll be, but I think it's pretty certain that's going to happen.
It could be on the progression, mate. Yeah, I mean, look, if we bomb in Qatar, mate, it might be December.
Well, I think Potter's got it next. But you look at Cooper's methods, and it's so in line with that England DNA. He's on the list, right? We know he is, right? So he's got to have good seasons with Forest, or wherever, you know, hopefully it's with Forest before he gets into the reckoning for that role. But realistically, I think he's going to be a name mentioned in a few years' time when Southgate makes way. But I think it'll go to Potter first. But I think Cooper will be part of the England setup in years to come. I think it's destiny that's the case.
Have you been happy with the transfer window, the kind of summer in between? Do you think you're getting your squad ready for the Premier League?
Yeah, I mean, this is what's impressive, right? We knew that we'd done a lot of work off the pitch to get the back room set up, and Dane Murphy was a big part of that. And we were kind of like, the message was going out that we were ready, right? Whatever the result at Wembley on that fateful day, we had a list ready to go. There was a plan A and a plan B, and it's obvious we had, right? Because we've got to it really quick. And again, this hasn't been the Forest way, and it's difficult to sign a player when you're a Premier League club. There's a lot of stuff to go through, so I appreciate the days and weeks that go by trying to get these moves pushed through. Clearly, the fact that we've got 10 through the door already shows that we had a lot of that provisional work in place. We had our list, we had our targets, and we've probably taken the first steps towards some of those targets. I don't think the Lingard thing has been a recent thing. I think that was work put in over probably months. I think he was a target originally, and we moved quickly. So we've seen it materialise in the last week, but I think work was put in before that. And that's probably the case for all the players that come through the door. So I really appreciate what the staff have done outside of Steve Cooper to get us in the position we're in. We had to get a lot of players in because we had 5 or 6 loan players who were key. But I think we're going to go. I think why I'm optimistic is because we're showing that we mean business. We're showing that we're going to sign a level of player that's not just going to keep us up, but hopefully get us in a place of comfort this season. So I'm optimistic. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends which side of the narrative you sit on. You have every reason to be encouraged. Looking back on the playoff final, the 3 centre-backs and Brennan Johnson's all that remains, basically.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ryan Yates is injured, is going to miss the start of the season. Colback played left wing back still at the club, but is unlikely to be a starter this season. And not all them 3 centre-backs are obviously going to start. You've got a couple in. It's a whole new team, isn't it? So actually the team that's got you here, and it has been a mistake that depends. Sometimes you stick with teams and it's the right thing for continuity, but sometimes you think, oh, you didn't make additions and stuff. It could go either way, this, couldn't it? It feels you could actually be very good, or you could bomb.
But I'll go back to Steve Cooper.
Yeah, no, it's a big role.
You know, I think that I don't question his ability to get that team gelled, and I don't question his ability to make sure that we make this transition in a way where we still keep a good spirit in the dressing room, because from what I've seen, that's paramount to his way of thinking. He's got values, he's got a philosophy. That's what it's about first and foremost before we even get to the tactics on the pitch. So given that, I don't have concerns. If we had any other manager, perhaps I would be worried about it, but I know that he's done that groundwork already, right? He's laid the foundations for bringing these players in. He's probably already had conversations with players about their role in the club now. I know there was fuss about Joe Lolly, and I don't really know what went on there. I'd like to think it wasn't as bad as the rumours, but you know, I have faith in him doing it the right way. And I think, yeah, we would normally have problems, I think, but I think we've got a man in charge who can get us that transition in a smooth way. It'll take us a couple of months. I think so. We're gonna hurt in the first few months. It's going to be a struggle. There'll be a lot of suffering, but I think we can turn it around.
Can you just touch on Joe Lolly? What do you know? What has happened there? Because he was integral to you originally. I don't know if you played Gaffer last year, Mark. I did, and I'm certain that I had him at the start of last season. What happened?
I don't really know the what happened in terms of how he was told the news, but it was rumoured that he was told to train with the under-23s because he wasn't in their plans. I don't know what the details of that is, and there was talk about he got that message through text message. I'd like to think that didn't happen. If it did happen, then I'd like to think there was a reason behind that. I find it very hard to believe that the Steve Cooper that I've heard others talk about, including Worrell, the captain, and other people who are not even connected to the club, how they've endorsed him as a man manager, that the circumstances that are rumoured around that Joe Lolly decision to move him into the under-23s and ask him to find another club, I really struggle to think that's what happened. But there are friends of Lolly who says that is what happened. But it's a difficult one, isn't it? He was a good servant to us, a great servant to us. A few seasons back, he was our best hope, and we were trying to hold on to him, not go to Villa. He was a supporter of Villa, and he was flying for us. And he had that game at Villa where I think we drew, and he scored a couple of world-class goals. He was outstanding. So for a few seasons back, he was our greatest chance of getting promoted. He was the one player who can do something special. He's had injuries, and he's not the player he was perhaps. And I don't think he really is the standard that would do a job in the Premier League. Sadly, I think he is perhaps a level below. He would have been a squad player at most. So I think it's right that we said you're not in our plans, but the way they did that, I just don't believe the rumours are true. I can't fathom it. It's just completely at odds with what Cooper stands for.
Just for Suj's benefit, Joe Lolly does have an FPL price, is 5 million, and he ain't going to play Suj. He's still a better choice than Romeo.
Well, yeah,
He might get a move.
Yeah, we're looking at Stuart Armstrong instead, mate. We'll stick with that as the 5.0.
Playing up front, isn't he? Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like you're psychic and listening into the Correspondent Week podcast already. But if anybody wants more info on that, you better listen back to the episode before this on Southampton. You said before we started recording, Mark, that there's no Forest players in your current draft. I have one. James? Two. Okay.
There's a big caveat to one of them.
Yeah. I think the time will come. I mean, I plan to play a wild card probably between five or six. That's where I'm kind of planning it loosely. I don't want to rigidly stick to that plan because you don't want to be making transfers thinking, I'm definitely going to play the wild card then. But there is a swing then when the promoted clubs, and you'll probably touch on this when you speak to the Bournemouth and Fulham correspondents, where all three of us enjoy a better run after 5 or 6 game weeks. We have better fixtures, play each other, in fact. So I think that is the time where there's a chance or an opportunity for FPL managers to freshen up their team with some of the promoted assets, and that includes Mitrovic and Solanke, of course, maybe Billin, maybe Wilson, players like that who can bring something over that spell of good fixtures whilst also freeing up cash for investment elsewhere in whatever bandwagons or heavy hitters emerge. So I will have Forest players in my team. I think at one point I'll probably have 3 Forest players in my team because I do think there's value, but I just don't have them from the start.
Because you were talking about maybe wildcarding on Black Box like game week 8 or something. No chance. You're wildcarding game week 6 treble Forest, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously there are names that stand out for me. Brennan and Lingard at the moment are the standout attacking players that you've got to look at and think, well, they're going to offer something, and they will. Like Brennan will probably be on penalties. I think Lingard will be on 25k a goal, so he'll be shooting from all angles.
So Lingard's going to be on pens, isn't he?
Well,
you can look at Brennan and say, how much are you getting for this? Let me take it, and I'll give you 5 grand.
I'll give you 5k, yeah. He could well be. He could well pull rank, so to speak, on that. Neco Williams is on. I notice he's on free kicks at the moment. Brennan's on some corners, but I think that will change when Jesse gets in. I think we are going to play in a style that hopefully once we're settled and once the team is gelled and Steve's done his thing, we will start scoring goals and getting results. So then there's going to be real value in Lingard and Brennan and whoever else comes through the door. Certainly Neco I think he's a very good player. I think he will grow with us. How much he'll grow this season, we'll see, but he's probably worth 4 million. Well, definitely is. It really depends if you're going big at the back or not. If you're going big at the back like myself, which I am at the start, I can't find a spot for him yet.
I was going to say, actually, I've lied, Suj. I've only got 1 Forest because Nico's not in at the moment because of exactly that. I'm looking at a back 5 at the moment. But Mark, is he unquestionably currently the best 4.0 defender in the game?
yeah, he's got. I haven't even looked at anyone else at the moment. I mean, he's gonna play every game, absolute certain. He'll be on some set pieces, and the right and left wing back spots are spots where, he'll be driving forward and linking with Brennan on that right hand side. Brennan's playing the 10 at the moment because Jesse hasn't started, but Brennan will be on that off the front too. He'll be right side, and his relationship with Neco Williams, as we've seen for Wales, will be crucial both to national team and us, right? So I think that you got to hope, or I hope, that they build a relationship which results in output on the pitch. So Brennan, Neco, Henderson, Lingard at the moment. But there could be other names that come through there, depending who comes through the door and who grows this season. We've got some good players there, there's no doubt about it. And I think Neco will get clean sheets as well later in the season. I think we will be organised defensively, and I think once the team has settled down with Henderson behind the defence as well, we'll get 8 or 9 clean sheets. I think.
Will it always be a back three?
Yeah.
Does he never move from it? If you're chasing a game or something like that.
Oh yeah, he might move mid-game. He might, if we're getting overrun in midfield. I think early on in the season we will get overrun in midfield. That's our weak area right now. Is central midfield. We don't have enough power, strength, pace, and creativity in there. 3 pretty important aspects of your midfield. We're lacking that. We need to bring that in. So there might be matches where we're 2 down and he changes it to a back 4. And he's taken McKenna off before now, but. It'll probably be Cook who makes way because he won't be. I think he's a player that might be. He's the one who's probably in doubt with Niakhaté pushing for a start. So I think that it will be a back 3 every game starting. Whether we adjust some games, I don't know, but he has done that now and again, but not often.
Is it a bit disappointing to have him in there at 4 million? I know he's obvious, but it kills all the others, doesn't it? It doesn't even make him a conversation, really, does it?
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, if he wasn't an attacking player either, and if we weren't playing wing backs, it would be perhaps a tougher choice. But he's not only is he a 4 million starter, he's a 4 million starter who's going to be in the final third of the pitch for 2/3 of a match at home anyway, right? So, I know how far we push on that position, and Spence pushed on a lot. Spence didn't. I mean, he was a great player, Spence, as you'll find out, but. His final ball isn't as good as Neco's. I think Neco's got a better delivery. So
Mark, I've been watching Emerson Royal and Doherty, mate. It's an upgrade, mate.
Oh yeah, I mean, like Spence doesn't put a foot on normally, but he's not got. I think Williams has got better passing, better vision. But he can't compete with Spence. I don't think for pace or dribbling. I think what you'll see from Spence is effectively you got Sam Maximin playing right wing back for you there. He's an entertainer and he's going to get people off their seats. So. I'm envious of you having Spence, but I'm very happy with Neco, so I'm all right.
Neco, as soon as we knew that he was moving to Forest, was straight in for me, James. But I'm thinking of trying to set up as a 4-4-2.
If you go 4-4-2, he probably goes in unless
he's definitely
you're thinking of having a 4.5 and rotating it somewhere.
The other thing is obviously Dean Henderson's in at 4.5. I fancy him more. I don't really know enough about you defensively and whether you allow a lot of shots, but compared to Raya, for example, I can see Henderson making a lot of saves and maybe picking up a few points that way. But if you've got Henderson at 4.5 and Neco Williams at 4, I'm going to take Neco Williams at 4, and I'm also not going to double up on the Nottingham Forest defence for the start of the season. So that rules Henderson out for me and just kind of locks in Neco Williams that little bit more.
Yeah, I think the other thing about our defence is the back 3 and the wing backs see a lot of the ball and will register a lot of passes. So Henderson will have to go some to get in bonus when we do keep a clean sheet, because the two wide centre backs are effectively our starting point for a lot of the moves, and so Worrell and McKenna see a lot of the ball and make a lot of passes, and then obviously the wing backs will be crossing and also seeing a lot of the ball. So unlike Nick Pope of old, where he's playing in a defence where very little passing goes on between the back 4, and so therefore he's in the BPS. I think Henderson will have to make 5 or 6 saves to get in the bonus on a clean sheet. So Neco is the best bet. Yeah.
All James, I know all James is thinking about is Sky. As soon as you start saying centre backs making passes,
yeah,
James is thinking passing tears. Give me that Sky.
No. Give him a chance,
Maybe.
mate. Not yet. Forest defensive. No, I do have Brennan Johnson in my Sky team at the moment. Yeah, brilliantly priced. Who do you expect to be the starting back three, Mark?
I think Cook will start the season, possibly. I mean, he started with him yesterday. I mean, Nick Hattie's the one that's going to come in. Worrell and McKenna will start as the wide centre backs. Although Biacone is a threat to Worrell on the right hand side, I think. But Worrell and McKenna will definitely start. Cook, I think, probably will start at Newcastle because of his Premier League experience. But Nick Hattie can play either in the centre or left side. He's not going to displace McKenna on the left. So either McKenna will move central and Nick Hattie will move out left. It depends how much. I mean, we've got Williams out on the right hand side. It depends how much Toffolo is the worry on the left hand side. We need to get cover that side. We probably need to sign another left back or left wing back rather. And we are trying to. I think Cornet could be coming in. And one of the reasons why Cornet could be coming in is because he could end up playing left wing back for a while because Richards is injured. So I think there's a concern Toffolo's lack of pace. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Hattie takes a left centre-back slot so that we've got that pace, that side to cover Toffolo. And then McKenna moves central, Worrell right is probably what we'll end up with after a few matches. But I think we'll probably go with the back three that played at Wembley at Newcastle.
Toffolo was outstanding fantasy asset in Gaffer last year at Huddersfield. But you sound a bit concerned. I almost feel like if Neco Williams was 4.5, we'd be talking about Toffolo a bit.
Yeah, he's a good player going forward. He's unproven at this level, and it's whether or not he can cope with the rigours of it. I think that we're not confident in him as a starter. I mean, he's brought in to back up Omar Richards, and so Richards got the injury, so we had to push through and get it. But I think from what I've seen, we're after Moreno at Betis, I think, and we're after Cornet, as I said as well. And I think the reason why Cornet is obviously coming in, if he does come in, as an attacking option further up the pitch, but even in our best front two, I think it's Awoniyi and Johnson. So if he's going to play, it'll probably be left wing back in the short term. So yeah, I just don't see Toffolo as being any more than a squad player, a depth player, and he'll be good at that because he can come on last 20 minutes and his delivery and his threat can hopefully get us points. But I don't think he's a starter in our best 11.
Okay. But do you think you'll play game week 1 left wing back?
Yeah, I think he'll have to because I don't think we'll have someone through the door quick enough to get them ready for Newcastle.
Oh, you've really sold that new signing, haven't you?
What's that?
You don't seem big on him at all, mate.
Well, Toffolo, no. Well, I'm realistic, right? And we've got to have two good players in every position, and he's a good player to back our left wing back up. But he's our backup. So we're not just signing the first 11; we're signing a squad. So that's why it isn't going to stop. So yeah, I mean, Biacone as well, good player, but I don't think he starts. He's there to back up Worrell and Neco Williams, but he's not going to start.
So it could be the back three that started the playoff final then.
Yeah, it will be, I think, at Newcastle.
Okay.
I think Nick Hattie might not start the season. If he does, it'll be left side and McKenna will move central, I think.
That's interesting. You always mentioned about Awoniyi. Am I pronouncing that right, Mark?
I think it's Awoniyi, but so people are I'm hearing it
Taiwo.
Taiwo. I'm saying Awoniyi because that's what the commentary used to say in the Bundesliga because I've watched a lot of his highlights. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, he looks well class on YouTube, doesn't he?
Hey, everyone looks great. Yeah. Oh, you look great. Game 39, James. So there
Thank
you
you
go.
very much, sir.
Anyone can look good on YouTube.
I felt my performance was great till I watched Kira Walsh for the England ladies, mate. Oh dear.
Yeah.
But it'd be him and Brennan up front, and I know you speak about this a lot.
Yeah.
It very much split forwards.
Yeah. I mean, they won't adopt. We won't have someone down the middle, so it will be left for them. This is why Lingard's signing is so important. The number 10 will carry that central role quite a lot. There'll be space down. The idea is quite simple. The strikers play in the channels and try and separate the centre backs and leave space down the middle for the number 10. Zinkernagel got in some very good positions last season and didn't take half the opportunities he should have done. He had a good season. He was a good player. He worked really hard. He won a lot of ball. He ran yards for us. But his end product wasn't as good as it could have been. Lingard should do all that and have the end product as well. So that's such a crucial signing. I wanted Gibbs White, but Lingard is, Gibbs White could be that level in a few seasons. And I think that Gibbs White has got that ongoing value that if we signed him, he'd be a fantastic signing. But he's not Lingard. Lingard's ready now to take us to the next level, which is why that's an important signing for us.
My memories of that half season were just that, him running into space, attacking the centre backs, and he did have an end product. If that's the kind of strategy and the game plan that Cooper's going to take to games and create the space for him to run into, then I'm very interested, because I've seen him do it time and time again, and in and around the edge of that box, he's pretty deadly.
Yeah, and he said that Cooper sold him the philosophy and team structure, and almost. I mean, I think he sat down and said, "This is what we're going to play like, and this is the role we're going to play."
It was money.
Yeah, well, there was money as well, but I think he knows that he's going to get the stage to, show what he can do, so he can get into Southgate's squad. And yeah, that role is absolutely pivotal to how we play. With a player of his class in that role, I'm excited about it. But yeah, we've got to build around that as well. It's not enough. We can't sit still with just that. We won't stay up with just Jesse. I think we've got to add more.
Jesse was just showing you, Suj, how massive you are, mate. That's all.
Well, the only thing that's massive is his bank balance. I mean, it's funny. He doesn't owe West Ham anything, right? He was alone for half a season. He did what he did. He left. Like, there was no commitment, but there's still a certain amount of rejection that you feel where he's gone to Forest over what he had on the table. The rumor is obviously that he's getting the money he wants at Forest, and he wasn't at West Ham, and good on us for not breaking the wage structure. But you still feel like, even though he doesn't owe us anything, there is a bit of disappointment that he didn't sign for us. But I also think that people that call him a straight out mercenary and that he's just gone to Forest for money are also wrong. I think he loves playing football, and I think he's going to want to do well. 6 million, I think he's way more attractive than Guimaraes, for example, who's priced the same.
Oh God, yeah.
And I think he'll comfortably outscore the likes of Neto at $500,000 less. I think he's priced very attractively, and I think a lot of people have short memories. If he does well in the first couple of weeks, then people are going to flock to him. And he's got the potential of really going up in value as well. At the start of the season.
Hold up, short memories. You're talking about a guy who, other than for 4 months for yourself, got what, like 7 goals in the previous 4 seasons
minutes,
or something?
Right? It's all down to minutes and not playing enough football. But we've seen in that 6 months that if he's the main man and you build around him, he's more than capable of providing attacking returns. And I think he's going to want to go to the World Cup as well. Mark makes a good point there, and I think being under Steve Cooper's tutelage there,
he's
is going to help
perfect
him
for the system in terms of what
he
Mark's explained about the split
Yeah.
forwards, and also I'm a big fan of his defensive work in that position actually. And you've said, Mark, there's a weakness there behind. What was your reaction when you knew that Lingard was your player?
I couldn't believe it. I mean, Jesse Lingard's been one of my favourite players anyway. And people won't believe this, but I had him in when he had that spell at West Ham. There was one week where I said, if he scores again tonight, then he's going to be the first account that I follow on Instagram. He's the only account I follow on Instagram still. Right? So I had him followed already. So I was aware of his work on Instagram, shall we say? And I've always loved him as a player, because I think like he is. It's just that. It's that agility. It's not pace and power with him. It's kind of like a much more of a skill craft with him. It's like everything he does, he doesn't rely on
He's very elegant.
But yeah, exactly.
He's very elegant. And
that's what I love.
I remember the first game he played for us. Everybody thought, look, he hasn't played football in ages. He hasn't played 90 minutes in ages. And we were expecting him to get subbed, and he played the full 90, and he didn't miss a beat even in the last 15 minutes.
He scored twice from memory.
And I watched that game.
Fit, and he's very elegant in the way that he runs. And I echo what James said. The amount of times you see him tracking back, helping the fullbacks out and stuff.
He's very clever off the ball player.
He's a very good player. 6 million. I just need to see a little bit from him. I don't know enough about how Forest play, but if he starts well, then he could be a real set and forget kind of 6 million midfielder to have in there.
The way we play, he should be more influential than he was at West Ham.
Wow.
Really. Because it is all set up for that number 10 to be the end product guy, either with the final pass or with the goal. So 10 and 10. I'm expecting double figures for both if we have a good season. And I think that would have played a part. He's not going to gamble on that World Cup, right? If he was going to turn down West Ham, he had to be sure he was going somewhere that was going to give him a platform, and we will definitely give him a platform.
Oh, he's going to be the hub of the team.
Yeah, totally. And I'm happy about that. He's not a player I have any doubts about performing, because I watched that game at Villa, and I think he went into that game at Villa for West Ham thinking, all the talk is about Grealish. And I remember him doing a Cruyff turn in the middle of the park, and I was like, what's going on here? Like, Lingard
just after he did the Millie Rock.
Unbelievable. And I was like, I've got to consider this guy for my team. He's like incredible fitness, and look at the arrogance of him. And then he scored the 2 goals as well, and I'm like, geez, I've got to take this guy seriously for my team. Signed him the week after and got all the goals that followed, and yeah, he turned my season around for me. He was one of the things that helped me have that, and that's why he's, ever since I've been like, couldn't understand why United weren't playing him last season. It seemed to be what they were crying out for. I just couldn't understand it, but their loss is Forest gain now.
Have you got the celebration on lockdown yet, Mark?
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
I'm doing it for the benefit of YouTube listeners.
To be fair, James, you share the same initials. So
JL, yeah.
is also.
I've been doing it forever. He got it from me.
Yeah. You can be J Lins.
Did you see that I said to Az, when the rumour came out, I said to Az, look, if he signs, you can pick an item of merchandise from your store and I'll wear it.
And I told Az to sort it out and get on 24-hour delivery so you could wear it for this, mate.
Oh, geez. Oh, God, he's got... And I didn't really have a look what he had in stock. I looked at the front page and it's all very kind of tasteful. It's all black hoodies and baseball caps. Well, that's all right. What have I done here? That's not a mistake. I went deeper into the stock and I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Az has got him a baby grow up.
It is so, yeah, J Lings, whatever you think off the pitch. He is going to split people and he's going to divide people off the pitch, no doubt about it. He's got a team behind him. He's probably got a vast entourage behind him, steering him certain ways that perhaps some of them aren't the best. And I get it, and I get some of the stick he gets. But on the pitch, he's one of my favourite players to watch. So I'm absolutely chuffed he's at Forest. I never dreamed he would end up playing for us. So I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy going to the home games and watching him play in the flesh, because I've not ever seen him play. So,
have you got any concerns about the salary side of it in terms of the impact on his teammates?
No, because again,
that he walks in as the highest earner by a mile. No,
because my understanding is from what Pierce has said, and I mean, I know Ian Irving at PLP who's interviewed him a few times, right? And when he was at West Ham, I was talking to Ian about what's Lingard like. Before I sign anyone from my FPL team, I do a whole character analysis of their so
personality profile.
You probably believe that now, don't you? You probably think, well, yeah, with you probably do. But yeah, I was asking Ian Irving what he was like as an individual, because he's interviewed him a few times, because Ian's the United correspondent for PLP. And he was saying what a good lad he is, and how he's not like what you think at all. He's quite a shy bloke. He's quite reserved. He's quite a nerd, quite geeky, and a nice guy. And so, from his point of view, he's not going to kick the door down and go, "I'm here, losers." He's not going to do that, right? He's going to be pretty humble, I think, in his approach to the dressing room. And again, we've got Cooper, right? So I don't feel worried about that. Unrest settling in.
We've got a previous case study of it. The same reports came out of West Ham when he joined. The likes of Noble and Declan Rice were just saying what a nice guy he was.
But the disparity, I don't mean about his personality. I mean the disparity of wages. So do you know what?
He's
when
an
he
England
came to
international.
But it's massive.
But
it's not massive. He's coming in on like 4 or 5 times everyone.
There's no transfer fee. It's short term. It's
I'm just referring to it from the perspective of how are his teammates thinking? And I know they've all been going, great, he's here, he's our best player, yada, yada, yada. But he's still going to be earning 4 or 5 times as much.
Only if you believe it is 200k. I mean, I've seen figures if it's 80k plus 120 with bonus, right?
So
Henderson's already on 100k for us. So
is he?
Yeah,
that's 2 of them.
We're paying his wages, right? So,
yeah.
But the thing is, I think you've got to be realistic, right? If we're going to be an ambitious club, we are going to have to bring in players at that level, right? So the players we've got now, I hope they look at it and go, well, these players here coming in on those wages are more likely to keep us in the Premier League. Therefore, I'm more likely to be earning what they're earning in a couple of seasons' time. Yeah, they've got to look at it like that. You know, there's people I work with, people who are paid more than me, but I respect them and I respect what they're doing for what I do. I do. So, you know, that's like, it's part of life, isn't it? Obviously in football, it's far more extreme. The gaps are extreme. And obviously it's such a public thing that it, you know, but I think 200k is off the mark. I don't believe it's that. But
No,
the
it sounds
bottom
like
line
it's
is,
not.
if he's scoring goals, no one's going to say anything. If the goals and assists dry up and he's not performing, then suddenly you have to wear it around your neck like an iron necklace, that kind of salary. So it all comes down to what he does on the pitch, in my opinion, James. Like if he's scoring goals, no one's going to even mention it.
And listen, the fans certainly shouldn't be bothered. They should be thrilled that he's on board. It was just a case of there probably will be some people in Forest's squad who are on like 5 to 10 grand a week or so, suddenly going, I can probably push for even 25s, 30s or something. It'll be a lot of people start knocking on the door. I think it's natural, isn't it? If someone comes into your workplace and is earning 10 times your salary, and you're potentially part of the same team, it asks some questions, and there is the potential for it to. But I agree with what Mark's saying in terms of Cooper, particularly so massive in the fact that I think it will. He would
have started talking and having conversations to that effect before it happened. I think. I mean, you know, if he's as good as I think he is, he would have sat down with any players he's concerned about and gone, you know, Jesse's coming in. There's going to be talk of the money is on. These are the facts, and this is where you stand. He would have had those conversations. You know, he's phoning Joe Wall at the weekend to check he's all right on a Sunday morning. You know, he goes the extra mile from what I understand. So he wouldn't have left that to chance.
I get the feeling, Mark, it's him or Martinelli maybe might be sort of towards the final decision for you.
Totally right, and Martinelli's in at the moment. I saw Arsenal run right against Chelsea last night, and that kind of made up my mind with Martinelli. I think you've got to go with confidence in the pre-season, and whatever you think of Arsenal or Chelsea, that result you can dispute it matters or not, but there's going to be momentum and confidence going into that first few games, and Arsenal have got it, and Chelsea haven't, right? So that's what I took from that. So Saka and Martinelli went straight back in.
Oh wow! Okay, and is that in addition to Jesus, or you're going to avoid Jesus?
Yeah, no, there's got to be
Harry, Saka
it's Harry Kane up front. No, there's not even a question about it. It's
single striker.
Yeah, I've got Son and Kane basically. I've not got Salah.
That's 62% ownership.
Listen, I don't need to talk up. I don't need to talk up Spurs. The GOAT is here. Listen to him.
Yeah, for me, Son and Kane will go on another level this year. I think the way things are at Spurs, the positivity they've got in the camp, the players they've brought in, Perisic and Basuma in particular, they're going to win the ball high up a lot more. If you win the ball high up with Son and Kane in your team, it's going to convert into goals and chances. I think the two of them will be another level, another 20.
He thinks he's on Black Box now. Listen to him. Are you in Nottingham August 28th, Mark?
Of course, I'll be at the game. Yeah, are you going up?
I'll see you there, mate.
Yeah, I didn't get a season ticket. There's no season tickets on offer, but I got gold membership, so I can go to all home games. I think I'm pretty confident I'll be able to get to home games. Away games, no chance. So people were queuing up around the block for that, and there was a lot of controversy about who got the away membership. So good luck to those who did, and apologies for those who didn't. But I think I should be at most home games. So yeah, I'll see you there.
I've just clocked Suj. He's got us first 2 home games. West Ham game week 2, and then us game week 4.
Yeah,
we'll see
I've got my West Ham ticket.
For him, isn't it?
The West Ham's going to be a really interesting game, right? It's Antonio coming back, Lingard as well. You're a very good side. I'll be very, very happy to get a point from that game, but it's going to be a big occasion. I mean, obviously West Ham players have been involved in big occasions before. They've been to many grounds before with big atmospheres, but they'll be in another one on Sunday.
Wow. Fun fact for you, Mark. My first game that made me support West Ham was Nottingham Forest versus West Ham.
Oh, yeah. What year was that?
1990 FA Cup semi-final. Do you remember
91.
the score? Oh, sorry, 91.
4-0 Forest. 4-0 Forest, yeah.
You beat him 4-0 and he chose West Ham.
Oh, we played so well. Tony Gale got sent off. We played so well that game.
Yeah, that was in the days when, obviously the FA Cup is still terrestrial TV, but there was a lot more terrestrial TV. And all they kept talking about in the commentary was the Academy of Football at West Ham and all the young players from back in the day. And that's what made me support. But let's hope that your first home game is not a rerun of that, because I could do without.
We ain't going to
4-0 in the second week.
We ain't going to beat you 4-0. It'll be an occasion, and I'm just looking forward to that. I mean, the emotion of first game back in the Premier League is going to be
It's gonna be
something
amazing.
else. I mean,
Fuck,
the atmosphere there
believe
is amazing.
the last time we played West Ham at home, you won 5-0.
Maybe. I mean, bloody hell, when was that? I mean,
In the cup under Sam Allardyce was in charge of West Ham.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, God, yeah. Well, yeah, people, all the Lingard talk recently, people were bringing that up again on Twitter. I saw it was getting quite naughty actually with the old West Ham Forest rivalry. I was like, it's getting a bit much. This I had to duck out because it was like I'd forgotten what it's like when you get back up to the Premier League and other teams' supporters start taking notice of you. I've forgotten what it was like, and I've never been involved in social media or had a Twitter account with and got involved in Twitter when my team was actually being noticed by rival fans, because we've been in the championship and people have been like ignoring us, obviously, right? Now we're up and we're making a few moves. People are starting to take notice. Oh, it's quite nasty out there, isn't it? On Twitter, yeah. It's like, oof, I don't want any part of that. So yeah,
Mark, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Welcome, mate. A few more things just want to cover off of Forest because listen, we can get sidetracked and speak for hours. I've done a couple of drafts and I keep landing on the 6 million forward spot as in the gap. And I don't particularly want either of your forwards to be totally honest because of the start. I think, as you correctly said, obviously at the weekend you look at Solanke from 5. And then Johnson and Taiwo from game week 6, like and Mitrovic around that point as well. You can look again. But if you were to punt on one of the two, the same price, preference?
What, Brennan or Awoniyi?
Yeah.
Brennan.
Is that clear in your mind?
Yeah.
Is that because you spent so long watching Awoniyi on YouTube?
No, Awoniyi's unproven it. He might take most of this season to adjust, and he might not keep his place either, because I think we are going to bring in another forward. I think we're going to have to bring in a forward who can hold the ball up to get us some rhythm. At the moment we're lacking creativity, and we're trying to just play the ball up to the front man and build from there, and he can't do that at the moment. So I think because his hold up play is not as strong as it needs to be because of the lack of creativity we've got, he's going to be a player that comes into things for Forest later on in the season when we've got a bit more creativity and we've got a rhythm to our play, and that's when he'll start being effective. Johnson will play every game. I think he'll keep pens. I mean, we joked about Lingard, but I think he will keep pens. The thing with Johnson is end product. Right? He can have a game where you don't see him, you don't notice him, he does nothing, and then he does that killer pass or he takes the goal really well. His ability to find the final ball and his ability to find the finish belies his age. That's what's going to surprise people. Well, his pace with the ball and his ability for end product are the two strengths he's got. And, it won't be long before on Match of the Day, you've got, Lineker and one other pundit eulogising about Brennan Johnson. It's going to happen. He's going to have a game where he's going to announce himself. Might not be for a few weeks, but he will have that game. And then, people will see. It's a little bit of a secret, but he won't be for long. So Brennan will be my choice out of the two because Awoniyi's going to take some time. Okay.
It reminds me of Delhi, mate.
What? Awoniyi?
As in, no, Brennan Johnson.
Brennan, yeah.
Delhi at his peak. Not now, and I'm not even saying Johnson's at that level. There are little things, little traits, exactly what you said. Those bits where he can be quiet all game, but he'll win it for you.
Yeah, exactly. He's a clutch player, right? Final 5 minutes, and you need that ice in the veins. He'll find it. He showed it in the playoff semi-final. The 2 goals that he scored. That first one at Sheffield United away to put us 2-0 up. It's not an easy one to take, and he put it in the top corner, running onto it at pace. Second one in the home game, running onto it at pace, top corner. He does that. He doesn't miss often. He doesn't miss good opportunities often, and his ability to assist as well is really good. He's just got that composure, and you can't buy that. You can't train it. It's just in him. His dad was a bloody good finisher, right? And he's the same, but he's also got that creative edge to his game as well that perhaps David didn't have. And his pace for the ball is frightening. It's gonna worry Matt Targett in game week 1. Put it that way.
Who's likely starting midfield at St James's as it stands? I say Lewis O'Brien's 1.
Yeah, it'll be Colback and O'Brien. I think. I don't think again.
Colback moved central.
Yeah, I mean this is what I mean. Well, he played central last night. I think that's the weakness. We'll be overrun in the first few games until we get more bodies in. So I think we've just got to try and hang on for the first few games until we've got a first choice midfield back. Yates could be part of that midfield, but there's still doubts about him at this level. We'll see. I mean, he's going to rely on work rate and tenacity and attitude to find a place in the 11. I think whether he's got the quality of passing and the level of composure you need to perform in the Premier League, I don't know. We'll have to see. I hope so. I really like Ryan Yates, but I think there's no doubt we need to bring in a bit more quality there. A ball winner, I think, someone with a bit of strength, pace, and power there to compete. Because I think Guimaraes and Joe Linton will probably just roll all over us for game week 1, unfortunately. So, we'll probably learn a harsh lesson in the first few weeks. But what's positive, if we're not just going to sit there and accept that, we're going to go out and bring players in by the end of the window who will make that difference. I don't doubt that. So while I'm not optimistic about the first month, first 6 to 8 weeks, maybe, I am optimistic we'll have players in place and that Cooper will get us playing in a way that will not only keep us up, but keep us up comfortably, I think.
Colback's ownership, 4%-ish. There's better 4.5s, right? Mids, if you need a 4.5 mid, would that be fair?
Yeah, De Silva, Brentford, Andreas Pereira, Fulham are the two you go to. Colback won't be in the 11 in about a month or so's time, I don't think.
So we've done the whole squad, Suj, and Mark hasn't even mentioned the player that's in my squad at the moment.
Who's that?
Oh, who have you got?
Lyle Taylor's in at the moment.
Oh yeah, very popular choice, and he's actually doing really well pre-season. And I don't think he'll be the one coming off the bench for Awoniyi in matches. I think early on, unless we bring another forward in, which I'm sure we will. But again, it will take time. Yeah, I didn't think he'd have a future at the club, but I think he's going to be there next season. Graben's moved on, and Lyle Taylor looks fit, and his attitude looks really good. And he's a good guy. I mean, off the pitch, I've seen a few interviews with him, and he really comes across well. So he's someone I think who's important in the dressing room and important to have around the club too. So I'm all for it, but not in my FPL team.
I mean, sit third sub, Mark, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
4.5 forward, but I feel at the moment he's as likely as any of them 4.5 forwards to get the 1 pointer.
Yeah, I've got Archer and Plange at the moment of Palace, who seem to be getting minutes pre-season. I think Archer will come on a bit like Taylor, and I think he might nick a few goals now and again at Archer, and he might even end up in the starting 11 at some point. So I think he's a very good 4-5, and the Palace boy has been starting well as well. I think there's so much competition in that Palace front line, though. I'm not really certain who's going to start.
They're a difficult read because half the squad's really in Australia and half of them's here. Yeah. I mean, for me at the moment, Taylor and Archer would be the two. I've had Archer most of it, but it was looking at potentially starting with a couple of Villa players is what made me switch it, so I'm not potentially blocking myself at the start. But the fact that you play 2 up front as well means that there is definitely a chance, I think, for him to be getting 10-15 minutes at the end of the game.
He'll definitely get 1 pointers for the first month. I think he'll come off the bench in most games.
His ownership is now about to rocket, Mark.
But he's not long term. We'll see who comes in.
No one cares. It's just 4.5 forward and get 1 point.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
We were talking about J-Links earlier. He's at 3.7 at the time of recording.
Yeah.
Usual caveat, James, we're pre-recording, so that might have changed by the time this goes out. But
imagine Forest bought another forward on Monday.
Yeah, we might probably sign someone during the show, but yeah.
But I think J-Links could easily get to double digits pretty quickly in the coming weeks if he does bits in pre-season as well. But the message kind of seems to be game week 5, game week 6, keep an eye on Forest for that wild card. And it's funny because we just talked on the show before this with Matt from Southampton, and he kind of feels that after game week 5, 6 might be when their fixtures turn a little bit better. You might want to look at them.
Southampton's turning about game week 17. We're all having them.
But their first 5 are particularly difficult if you needed cheaper players there. But so for Forest, your general advice is keep it cheap or keep it after game week 6.
Yeah, I think, Henderson's a decent punt as a 4-5, but I would go Neco Williams if you're not going big at the back, and then have a look after 5 game weeks. Because by then the window would have closed, we'd have had our players in, and Cooper would have started having some effect on how we're playing. I think we'll be okay. I think I'm optimistic we can do what Brentford did last season. I think there's certain parallels between them and us. They played 2 up front, so do we. They played with a back 3 with wing backs, so were we. And Eriksson was their creative player who came in and changed their season. And that's what I think Lingard will do for us from the start. So I'd like to think we can do what they did. It's going to be really tough. I mean,
it's got to be confidence in them cup games as well, Mark.
Yeah, Yeah, I think
The
so.
fact that, and I know the team's changed, but you beat Arsenal, you deserved to. You beat Leicester, you thumped Leicester.
Yeah,
and you took Liverpool to the wire.
We were at our peak at that point as well, right? So confidence-wise, we were feeling like we could beat anyone at that point, and we ran a run of 6-7 wins in a row. And it's the crowd as well. I mean, the crowd at the City Ground at that time is, and that will get us through. I mean, you look at Everton last season, Goodison Park crowd kept them up. I mean, Richarlison, but the crowd as well was astonishing. And I think we've got that, right? I don't think, with respect to Fulham and Bournemouth, they can turn to that as a factor that would, help them in the final throes of a relegation battle. I think if we ended up down there, we've got a 12th man who can play its part. I mean, the City Ground's tough place to go when our crowd is behind the team, and we have been behind that team now for about a year since Cooper came in. The connection in my time supporting Forest, I have never felt a connection between the supporters and the team like this. Even in the Clough years, I can't explain what it is, but when you go to matches, I've never sensed it in the way that it is. You've got pensioners standing up and shaking their fists. It's like he's reignited everybody in that city, just with the way he's turned the team around, but also his character and personality that's come across has brought everyone on board, and we all want to be behind it and be part of it and be a factor in the success story. And I think that's why we just not going to let us go down. We're just not going to let us go. We will fight to the end, and if it comes to it, we will do what the Goodison Park crowd do, and we will carry the team through, I think.
What you're describing, and I've described it at my own club, at a different phase and a different level, but it is remarkably powerful.
Yeah.
Honestly.
When you're in it, I've had season tickets before, and I didn't have a season ticket last season. I went to some home games and I couldn't believe what I was feeling, and the Brian Clough stand's normally one of the quietest areas of the ground, and I went there for a few home games. I've never seen anything like. I'm like, this is bizarre. It's like, these are people that have been to the club for their loyal supporters have been there 20, 30 years, but they've never been. They were like reactivated. It's a really weird thing, and you feel the energy, and you just think, we're going to win this game because we'll find a way, because together we can win it. It's a really corny, cheesy thing to say, but you do feel it.
No, it's true. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, and I think we're going to take that in, and I think that will help us.
Where do you think you'll finish, Mark?
I'm hoping the same as Brentford, 13th, but I think it'll be tough. It'll be tough to do that, but I think we got a chance of something like that. It's going to be really tough, though, really difficult. It depends how damaging the start of the season is. If we come out the start of the season and we're not too adrift, so I'm talking after 7-8 weeks, we're not like 6-7 points adrift off 17th, then I think we'll be all right. It really is what we can do in those first few months, because I think it's going to be really hard. There's going to be a lot of suffering while we're settling in, but I think we can really kick on after that. In September, October, November, we maybe will start playing the football that Cooper wants to play, and then hopefully we'll start getting the results. But yeah, I don't think the start's going to be pretty. I'm realistic about that.
What percentage of the fellow correspondents do you think would tip you to go down?
What percentage?
Yeah, roughly
55, 60, I think.
Yeah, it's about split in half.
Yeah, which is great. I'll take that.
Yeah,
because it would have been the same for Brentford, right? They might even have been a bit higher, and it's a similar story. I think we've got to dig in and do the kind of the dirty stuff for the first month or so, and then we've got that Ericsson player from the start where they didn't, and hopefully that'll unlock Johnson and Awoniyi and whoever else comes in. So yeah, we've got a good manager just like Brentford had, who can turn it around for us and get us results. So, and the crowd as well. Brentford's fans are, it was a factor in there. Look at the Arsenal game in the opening game of the season. The Brentford fans played a big part in that, and that's what we can do at City Ground. So there's a lot of parallels between us and Brentford, and I hope that goes right to the fact that we end up finishing where they did.
Good luck, mate. It would be amiss of us to let you go without asking one interesting question, though, because you brought it up yourself. Does this impact you for FPL personally this year, do you think?
Yeah, probably. It probably does. I think, I never thought it would be a factor. I tell you now, one of the things that got me into FPL was probably the fact that I kind of cut adrift from Forest somewhat. I I used to be a season ticket holder and a passionate fan in terms of it really affected me. And I had to learn when I had kids and a family and a job that was much more intense that I had to let that go, right? Because I couldn't let something out of my control get me down the way Forest did during those difficult years. So what I did, I ended up replacing Forest with FPL, and that was another thing I couldn't control that could get me down. So it's really weird the way the two went in parallel. And now I never thought the two would cross. I never thought, oh, I'd have to handle both of them. Now I've got a situation where my FPL team could do badly and Forest do badly in the same weekend, and my family have to put up with that. I don't envy that. But hopefully it doesn't get me too much. Will it affect my FPL season? Probably, yeah. There'll be times where my judgment will be impaired, I think, by my regard for Forest and my knowledge of Forest. I'm going to know Forest better than any other team in the Premier League, probably. I mean, I've built up a good knowledge of the Premier League while they've been out of it, but I think now I'll be looking at it through a different lens, and inevitably it will have an impact. But to be honest, 23 years, I don't give a shit, James. I'm just so happy.
Mark,
we don't swear on this pod, Mark. I don't know.
Sorry. We've done so well as well. Mark, thank you for joining us, and particularly for the rundown on Nottingham Forest as well. For some of the clubs that we do go for on Correspondent Week, it's pretty straightforward. There's like 3 or 4, and sometimes actually just 0 obvious picks. But for the new clubs that get promoted, these podcasts are really helpful for a lot of our listeners. So we really appreciate you taking the time to come on today. James, do you want to do your line?
No, I was gonna. Well, yeah, Mark. Where this sounds ridiculous. Mark, where can they follow you on the bird app, mate?
I keep my head down. You struggle to find me, to be honest. But yeah, yeah. Obviously, FPL Black Box is the thing I do week in, week out with Mr. Az. If you play FPL, tune into that. It is 2 hours. It is grueling. I do go on a bit like I did tonight, but yeah, join in and watch that on YouTube or on the podcast. And then I'm part of Fest as well. Like myself, Ed, and Johnny set up Fest a couple of seasons ago. If you play FPL and you want to get together with other FPL managers, Fest is where it's at, right? We get together. We have tickets for the London gig on the 20th. I think, is it 20th? I don't even know the own date of the own show. It's Friday. It's deadline. It's deadline.
It's
opening
on the
day. 5th. What am I doing?
Friday the 5th.
Where does the 20th come from? No idea. Ed will kill me for getting the date wrong. Yeah, Friday the 5th, deadline day. We got tickets at Waterloo. So come along to that if you fancy mixing it with some FPL managers on deadline day. And we're doing a New York gig as well, which is pretty
That's
crazy.
Exciting, mate.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see what the FPL managers are like over there, whether they're even more fanatical than the people in the UK. I'm sure they will be. We'll have to see. So yeah, we made contact with the All Sheeting guys who are big. I'm big fans of theirs, and so I'm looking forward to meeting those guys and meeting some FPL managers out there. So yeah, I'm doing bits and pieces.
Lovely jubbly.
Good man. Thank you so much, Mark. Good luck to yourself, Forest, for the season, mate. I'll see you. I'll see you at the end of August, mate. We're coming. So we'd probably get upset, wouldn't we, Suj? He's going to beat both of us. What a state that Tottenham will be.
Oh, dear.
That's what I was going to be a good one. James, as we march on through Correspondent Week, where are we going to from the heart of England?
A bit further north. Not too far on the train, I suppose, but definitely north. We're going from Mark, who likes to keep his timeline on a deload, to Andy, who doesn't give a shit about his timeline. It's a mess. We're going to be talking to Andy Martin, FPL tactician, about Leeds United.
Fantastic. Mark, thank you once again. Listeners, make sure you're subscribed wherever you are listening to the podcast, or if you are watching on YouTube, hit the notification bell, all that kind of stuff as well. And if you want to follow James, head over to Twitter at Planet FPL Pod if you don't already. I'm sure you've got a list, James, haven't you, on your Twitter profile of all the correspondence handles as well?
Yeah, I mean, I copied that in the trailer we did. Shout out to Neco for the trailer for the video, by the way. But yeah, you can follow all the correspondence via the list. And yep, Mark, he's in there. He'll be back. He'll be back.
I'm looking forward. You got me back for the Fulham one. And
game week 8.
Man United away. Brilliant. Thanks for that.
That's the plan. One easy, one hard.
Yeah,
listen, Fulham will be tough, mate.
Well, I know. I'll be going to the game, and I'm looking forward to that one. My dad's a Fulham fan, so yeah, we got that in the family. So we'll see.
Brilliant, mate. That's it. Close it, Suj.
Good. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. Back at you at the next episode. Ciao for now.
Thanks, Mark. Cue music, please, man child.